Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show today. Really happy to have you here. It's actually a nice sunny morning for me. I've had a lot of rain. Yesterday was like cold and rainy for Thundera too, but I got a beautiful, cool summer day going on. I got a nice hot cup of coffee. I'm sitting here with a bunch of friends, and I just noticed that Bob Ross is live just in time for Halloween too. That's awesome.
Bob Ross, you say?
Yeah, he's live.
The Bob Ross,
I
the one and the
subscribe to his
only?
channel. I doubt it. That's thus the Halloween comment. But that's cool. I'm glad his family's continuing that, and it's a bit of a sad story with old Bob, how he was cheated and mistreated. But talk now. He's not quite Mister Rogers as far as the impact, but that is a soothing motherfucker right there.
Yes. Yes, that was a very interesting way to put it, but yes.
He is, man. You gotta love
He
the old
started
Bob Ross.
ASMR,
Yes, he
whether,
did.
anyone would
Yes,
admit
he
it or
did.
not.
Yes, he did.
No, I
Uh,
do. I sometimes when I'm, like, writing or whatever, I'll just turn some Bob Ross on and just listen just listen. You can look too and look at the nice painting, but the man just had a way of
he did.
just calming you down, just bringing you to a nice, mellow, even
Hmm.
center. And from what I understand, he that was really who he was. He was just
Yep,
a chill
he
guy,
was.
didn't have any malice towards pretty much anybody.
Nope, he's a really good human, which
Yep.
is why he's appreciated. I'm glad his family is continuing on. Hopefully, they are able to suss some income out of his name. Some people go, that's disgusting. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't they profit? And try to help them move along.
It's
I mean,
weird to me how many of like the baby boomer and your generation are like very much against leaving things for their children. Like I get the idea in principle. You want your kids to value work and to value, earning their own keep and whatever.
sure.
Okay, but just teach them that. Like, be
Yeah.
a parent. You don't have to deprive to make their life harder. Well, what are you earning all your what are you working so hard for if it's not to make it easier for your children? That just doesn't make any sense. To me personally, it seems like a form of self-loathing that you're
Mhm.
taking out on your kids.
Well, I've already provided for my wife and children. I've already
Yeah,
taken care of
exactly.
that. Yeah.
As you
Um,
should.
yeah, because I'm doing everything in steps, and now I'm looking at trying to retire myself and be able to just kind of be leisurely for the rest of my
Yeah.
life. That's my goal.
I don't even know
Yeah,
what that would look like with you, Chester. You're such a workaholic.
yeah, I know. It wouldn't be. Because look what I'm going to do in my retirement. I'm opening a live house and I'm going
Yeah.
sailing. So that's not really relaxing at all, is it? Yeah. Oh well.
No.
But I
Well,
do
you
plan on.
could sit around and watch Bob Ross all day.
I know that would drive me crazy. Are you kidding me? Um, but although I will put a caveat on that, I do plan on hiring a manager for the live house. I'm not going to manage it myself.
You're
So
just not doing it, huh?
yeah, I'm not. I'm not going to do it. But you're probably right. My wife laughs. She's just like you. She laughs because I say, "Well, we're going to retire," and she just looks at me and yeah. Oh
Like, I
well.
know you. I know you
Yeah.
better than this, Chester.
Yeah. Oh well. I mean, don't blame me. It's not my fault.
Does your
Um,
wife have any, like, cute pet names for you?
no, not really. No.
Nothing? She just calls
Mm,
you Chester? She calls you by your name?
well, she calls me Chet. I mean, most people would say,
Oh,
yeah.
that's adorable. Chet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's okay. Well, it's not like my grandma who used to call me Chetty.
Daddy,
Oh my God.
uh, have we just abandoned the S entirely, or what's going on here?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I have no clue. It's weird because, of course, you've heard of many famous Chets: Chet Baker, Chet
Yes.
Atkins, Chet. There's many of them. Famous baseball player too. But it's weird. I don't know why Americans do that because the actual official nickname for Chester is Castor, which is actually going back to the more of the actual original correct pronunciation, right?
Mhm.
Because it's coming from the word castium, which means the fort or castle, right? And
Yeah.
meaning person of, right? Yeah, I have no clue, dude. My dad's nickname is Czech with a K.
Check. What is
Uh,
going on over there?
uh, I don't
I
know.
guess it's because you can't really call somebody Chess. That just sounds
Yeah, you
awkward.
could. But no. But mostly when I was a kid, everyone nickname wise, I was Chet. I did have for a while where people were calling me Cass,
Hmm.
but that was only in the South. So I don't know
Yes.
why, because you don't really have any control over a nickname, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's up to the world. So
Hmm.
anyway, but hello, Roger. How you doing? Definitely go over and hit that share button if you would, guys. Let people know so we can come in here and join us. Do you have a nickname? I mean, of course, Thundero, but I mean, what your
My
people?
wife just, if she calls me by anything other than just like babe or something like that, she
Mm,
just calls me by my name. I won't share it because I hate it that my family has called me my whole life, no matter against all my protests. But
protestations.
yeah, that's the word I was looking for. But other than that, not really. It's pretty much just my name. It's a pretty, my real name's Steven, and it's a common name, but it's not that common.
Well,
So I
I
just go
hate
by
to
that
I hate
usually.
to correct you. Your name is not Steven. It's Stefan.
No, my name is
Yeah,
Steven.
Stefan.
Listen, it's not my fault that my grandmother could not spell. My name is supposed to be Stefan, but she spelled it wrong.
Mhm.
So it's Stephen, just like Stephen King.
Yeah, yeah, I know. But the
Mm,
Europeans would pronounce it differently. My
I
Flint
don't
just went up.
listen.
That sucks.
I don't live in Europe for good reason.
That is
It's a
true.
shithole.
That's fair. That is fair. Yeah. But anyway, we are running up this week. On Sunday, we have, of course, which will be your Halloween show. Monday would be mine. So on the comics news today, next week, I will be doing a little bit of Halloween stuff simply because it's my Halloween, right? But I do want to kind of, just in case, cover a little bit of stuff on the rest of the shows this week because it's Halloween and I love Halloween and Thundera loves Halloween and well most people love Halloween, as you should. Don't be a communist, you know.
Right.
But
No
as I
communist.
no communist, yeah. But as I sit here and change my flint and my Zippo lighter, the weird thing is I got a whole bunch of Zippos I've owned over my life, and I still own them. My wife and I are not the type who hang on to things. We're not sentimental in that way, so we're
Hmm.
always cleaning up and organizing, keeping our stuff tight. I think that has to do with the fact that we're travelers, both of us. But
Yes.
however, there is certain things that I have kept a hold of and I don't discard, and one of those is my Zippo collection. The funny thing is, the Zippo I use and I've used for years and years and years was given to me by my son as a present a long time ago, and it's just a
Hmm.
simple, cheap little silver Zippo that he bought with his own money. But it's more
Nice.
important than all those little fancy ones. I even got one that's got a ruby inlaid in it, an actual ruby.
The only thing like that I have is pocket watches.
Oh
My
yeah,
family,
yeah.
my grandmother on my father's side, so my paternal grandmother, and me and a few others have this weird thing with our body chemistry where watches die if we wear them. They just the batteries in there, they just don't last. I've killed them within a week, brand new watches.
Oh,
So I
interesting.
don't buy watches anymore, but at pocket watches it doesn't do it to. For some reason it's only when it's on our wrist.
Huh. That's
Or
weird.
I would buy pocket watches, and I have a whole little collection of them. Now, most of them don't work anymore since I got a smartphone. I don't really need a watch, but I used to have them all the time, and I have a whole bunch of them. So that, I showed you that costume I wore.
Yeah.
You couldn't see it in that picture, but there was a pocket watch on there.
Oh, that's cool.
Uh, yeah, but that's just the only thing like that I have. I used to do the same thing with knives, but I sold all those, and then chessboards. But long
Oh.
story short, pretty much all of those got destroyed.
Oh.
So, yeah. But I still have the pocket watches, including my grandpa, his old winding pocket watch, but the arms are broke off. They were broke
Oh.
off when I got it.
Well,
And yeah, my mom bought me a whole bunch, so I still have those. Yeah,
well, you
pocket
you
watches.
you might want to send that to me. I could repair that for you.
My grandpa's pocket watch.
Yeah, I used to for a while. I kind of was hobbying around with watch repair.
Hmm,
I kind of like the
interesting.
mechanisms and stuff, but I could probably repair it. I only have one now, one pocket watch, and it's my grandpa's. So I don't have any others. I used to have some, but I got rid of them. But yeah, no, I did that for a while. I actually was thinking about getting back into it. It's a fun little hobby. Working, it's very meticulous and fiddly, which I like. If
Yeah.
you don't have the ability to focus for like a couple hours at a time, I mean, really focus, don't get into that hobby.
Hmm.
You know, but yeah, I mean,
It's just amazing to me how mechanists at one time,
mhm,
and even still today, I guess, with different types of technology, the tiniest little intricate little things that
yeah,
they could build
yeah,
and get working and just they function, just you just wind them up and there they go.
yeah. It's super cool, dude.
It's amazing how just how freaking smart some people are,
Oh
right?
yeah,
Just
yeah.
genius level intellect.
Yeah, no, it is cool watching machinists do their thing. I love that kind of stuff. I wish I had better skill at it. I don't. I just don't have the time. But most of the things with watches are cast, though, which is a
Yes.
completely different process unto itself, and a fun, interesting process too. I don't know if you ever done any casting, but that's fun to just try it out. You can do all
Mhm.
make little jewelry or whatever. But yeah, no, watches are awesome. I've never had a really nice, expensive one though. My grandpa's is probably the best one I have, and it's just a common man fisherman level pocket watch. It's not expensive or fancy
Mhm.
at all. It's old though, but
Yeah.
that's about it. But yeah, those things are cool. I mean, these are things that men like doing things with their hands in general, and
Mhm.
these kind of precise things really fill you with pride when you succeed at. That's kind of the whole point of doing it. But nevertheless, we're here today to talk about comic books, not pocket watches. Are you ready?
Always.
Always, always ready. I thought today, because I want to have fun today. I mean, I know we kind of joke around at the nonsense a lot, and fair enough. But I wanted to just kind of have some fun today, at least a little bit. So what
Look
I've
at him.
decided to do is start off with talking about a comic book character. And this one here is one of my favorite of all time, and I'm sure I'm not alone.
Oh no.
Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine's he's one of the goats.
He is.
Uh he's a
Yeah.
great character, just everything about him, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
he's one of the first like anti-hero type characters that actually mattered. I wouldn't say he's an anti-hero because I don't particularly like that term. I think it's stupid. But he's a very edgy boy, literally.
Yeah. Well.
And
Yeah.
I think it works with him because there's a lot of like nuance to his character. He was one of the first characters to kind of be like a Jason Bourne, where he didn't know who he was, and yet he was still very capable and very powerful. Actually, Wolverine's very powerful.
Oh yeah.
Um, I've always loved Wolverine. He was one of the ones that I was drawn to when I was like reading comics very heavily as a kid. So I was a kid right during that great X-Men run between like 75 and early 90s, and Wolverine was all over that. And it's what made it, it's where he became so popular. And
Yeah.
I would say he's one of those characters who definitely became bigger than the books he was in. Like, like a
Oh,
Superman or
absolutely.
Batman or Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Most people
Absolutely.
probably have couldn't even quote you too much of anything from the books for Wolverine, but they know who Wolverine is immediately from
Yeah.
looking at him.
Well, I think they peeled him off of the X-Men later than they should have. They should have started his own comic book sooner than they did. But as far as the anti-hero thing goes, a lot of people like to kind of look at Batman as an anti-hero, and I don't know why he's not. He's a vigilante. He's not an anti-hero at all. But Wolverine is certainly closer to that. But I get your point because he is heroic in his heart.
Mhm.
However, the interesting thing about Wolverine I like is the inception of Wolverine, because he originally was created. I forget the name of the guy who created him, but he was created as a Wolverine that had become human by some
Mm,
process. Right, so he originally was an actual Wolverine in human form. Chris Claremont just took it basically, so he had the
yeah.
power to just say, "Nope, that's mine." right? And I know there was some argument against him doing that, but he didn't give a shit, and he had the power to not have to. He just took the character, and of course, he created what we know today in the Claremont's reboot of the X Men. And thank God he did, because not only did he make it more interesting than what the original X Men were, I think, he also saved comic books. I mean, he literally did. We've already covered that a couple of times, so we don't need to go over that again. But Wolverine, of course, is very integral to it because if you think of the original X Men and we think about who is the most endearing to us, right? You got X Men, of course, with Charles Xavier. He's important. You have Storm and Cyclops and Nightcrawler, and you have Jean Grey for a time. You have Beast, and there's been so many characters in the roster. But out of all of those, the one that has become truly independently iconic is Wolverine,
Yep,
right? And we may love those characters a lot, but Wolverine is the one that came to the top. And I'm kind of wanted to talk a little bit about why do you think that happened? How is
he's
it out
cool.
of all those characters? I know he's cool, but a lot of them are cool. But what is it about Wolverine?
Yeah, none of them are cool. Like he's classic cool. They're cool to nerds. The only other one who I think has like what's the word I'm looking for? Like transgenre charisma of the X-Men. Honestly, now that I think about it, no, not even her. I was gonna say Storm, but no, not even her.
No, no. We
He's
love Storm.
he's the I do. She's my favorite X-Men. Beside her and Wolverine, my two favorites. And Wolverine is just there's just he's just got that it factor. The character, the way he's presented, typically anyway. And he's just cool. Like that's really all it is. That's really what breaks it down, and it comes generationally, of course. The reason why Batman is so iconic is because he's cool. Everything about him's cool, like his outfits and his motif and everything. Um, and I think it's Wolverine, less so Wolverine, even though that's what people know him as, and obviously that's who he is. And it's the alter ego to him. It's Logan.
Right.
Logan's really cool. He's a
Yeah.
cool character, and his backstory is very interesting, even though they change it all the time. But the idea that he doesn't know who he is and all these things is quite awesome. Plus, he's one that isn't as restricted by morals. Like he doesn't avoid killing people and things like this. He'll tear somebody apart.
Yeah, he's different. He's not Superman or Batman for sure. He's a different
Yeah.
character. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Oh,
think that's really all it is, though. I think if you boil it down, you break it, chip away everything else, he resonates, and what resonates with him is he's cool. He's
yeah.
kind of like,
Okay.
he's a badass, and men want to be badasses. That's why he's popular. Women like badasses. That's why he's popular.
Yeah, and I think he also kind of captures that idea that his integrity cannot be bought, sold, or
Yes,
stolen.
correct.
In no
And I
way.
think another thing that is missing, and one of the reasons why comics don't resonate anymore, they don't have characters like him that are what you just said. They're outlaws in a
Yeah.
way. Now they're not outlaws in a bad way. Like he's not out here doing bad stuff necessarily, but he doesn't give a crap about society's rules at all.
Yeah.
He'll be perfectly fine living out in the wilderness alone. He's basically, they have the archetypal males. You have your alpha and your beta and your gamma. He's the sigma. He has all of the same traits as an alpha. He could be a leader if he has to be, but he doesn't. He has no interest in that.
Mm,
And that's what he is, and that's why he's such a prominent figure in the comic book world and really just in pop culture in general.
yeah.
And just the fact that it's cool, he freaking shoots blades out of his hand. If
Yeah.
you're like a 11-year-old boy, that's awesome.
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. It's the Clint Eastwood factor, right?
Yep.
For sure. I agree with these. Of course, everyone does. Wolverine is super cool, and he's just a great, great character. And thank goodness we got him because we almost didn't. Because there
Yep.
was a fight. Because the creator, I can't remember the name, damn it, but the creator didn't want they had plans for the character, and they didn't want him to be just stolen by Chris Claremont. Thank God he did though,
Yes.
because we would have not gotten this Wolverine. It would have been a completely different thing. But I do have a couple of questions. The first one here is Hugh Jackman. I think everyone agrees, even though he's not the perfect body type, we get that. But he
Yeah.
did embody Wolverine. Good on him. and all the time and effort he put in to do that. I appreciate Hugh Jackman. But what was the best Hugh Jackman Wolverine moment in your opinion?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Um, I'd have to think about that for a minute. Because he was Wolverine for a long time.
He was many many movies.
Um, Many movies, different genres, or not genres, but settings. Like he was in Days of Future Past and all that stuff. Um, Man, that's a tough one. I would
It is.
say for me, as a Wolverine and Sabretooth fan,
Hmm.
I've always loved their dynamic.
Yeah,
Even though we never really got that in any of the movies,
not
just
perfectly.
seeing a
Yeah,
guy who looks like Sabretooth fight a guy who looks like Wolverine was pretty freaking cool in the
it
first
was
X-Men
cool.
movie.
And I think that guy did a great job as Sabretooth
He
actually.
did.
I
He
think
was
he
he
did.
would if they could have just gave him something more to do, maybe he just wasn't a good enough actor, I don't know.
Yeah,
But he had the look down. He
he did.
looked just like him.
And the attitude. I mean, the
Yep.
first one they had in the first run of X-Men movies looked more saber-toothy, fair. But the second guy, the one we're talking about, he
Yep.
did a good job. My favorite Hugh Jackman Wolverine moment is probably not what you would expect, but it only lasted 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and it had Xavier and Magneto when they're young coming in those first class, I think it was
Mm,
walking in. They couldn't even get up to him. He just says "fuck off" as he's
yeah.
chewing on a cigar. That is so Wolverine, dude. They captured that, and I don't know who wrote that in the script or if that was Hugh Jackman's idea. I don't know because Hugh. One of the things about Hugh, other than putting himself in his body in the shape it needs to be, like you should as an actor, it's your job.
Yep.
He also, because he didn't know anything about Wolverine, which shocking. He's Australian. What would he know about Wolverine? So he went and read every Wolverine comic book he could get his hands on. Research. So he understands that Wolverine sitting there chewing on a cigar, drinking whiskey at a bar, and just saying "fuck off" is freaking Wolverine in a little teeny box, right? He got that. Someone got that, and I thought that was really cool. That was
Yep.
neat. But anyway, let's move on to the last little bit I wanted to do with this before we get into some new stuff. I want to talk about his villains. Now, we've already talked about Sabretooth a little bit, but I don't know that you could talk about Sabretooth enough. It's
Yep.
such a cool character. It's a perfect juxtaposition to Wolverine. It's the
Yep.
more primal and animalistic side of Wolverine. However, I think the point that I would put out, the question I put out would be this. For a long time, they refused to divulge Wolverine's history. And I think
Hmm.
that was smart, just like the Joker. We don't really know who he is. They finally did, and we got the Logan storyline and stuff. And of course, Sabretooth played a major part in that. And of course, then they they even turned him into brothers, right?
Yep.
But Step brothers anyway. What do you think about that turn? What they did with making Sabretooth um, so integrally connected to Wolverine, which we never got that feeling before.
Um, I like it. I like. Like I said, I've always liked him and Sabretooth. I like how connected they are. I like the fact that, like you said, I think something that isn't done enough, especially in comic books, is the idea of a shadow character. And Sabretooth is kind of Wolverine's shadow. And what I mean by that is
Yeah.
he's the antithesis.
Yeah, no, that's true.
They do that a lot, but I don't think they do it well, I should say, enough. And I think he was the perfect antithesis to Wolverine. Um, and I just think they have a great dynamic. Like I said, I really love their dynamic. I love the fact that, every hero needs at least one villain that's just in his head, right?
Yep,
That just can get to him in a way that no one else gets to him. And that's Sabretooth
it's true. That
with
is
him.
very true. Yeah. The only negative I'd say is I wish they put it deeper back in time. I wish it
Mm,
was more back in like the Elizabethan age or something like that instead of the Edwardian age.
yeah.
But besides that, I do like the idea. I like the fact that old mom was bored with dad and was sleeping around with the land keeper or the woods keeper or whatever his title was, and of course he was a mutant. I
Hmm.
like that aspect. I like the tragedy of his inception. All of those things are really cool. I think it works out. Other than that, I just wish it were a little bit deeper in time. But that's a being picky, I guess. But yeah, no, I do like the Wolverine character a lot, and Sabretooth is essential. Now,
Yeah.
these two are linked, have been linked now, but there are other villains Wolverine has. Of course, this is not a villain per se, but some of the best fights you've ever seen the Hulk have is with Wolverine,
Oh yeah.
right?
Um, when he rips him in half, and it's not a fair fight by any stretch of the imagination because Hulk is basically unlimited in power. If
Yeah,
the angrier he gets, the stronger he gets, and he can't really be hurt. Um, but the fights are cool,
they are
and
cool.
it's two of Marvel's most popular characters. Probably the two most popular non-traditional superhero characters are Hulk and Wolverine. And yeah, it's just a great fight, and the fights make sense usually when they
Yeah,
happen. Um, and I like one of the things that needs to happen more is Hulk needs to be Hulk. They need to. I really don't personally like when they make him too human. I want him to be a rage monster. That's what he is,
yeah,
and just let him go. And now they can come up with ways to direct that rage at certain things.
and they do.
Whatever, maybe give Bruce a little bit of control just so he can direct him. So he's not hurting too many innocent people. But other than that, that's what I like. That's what I like about Hulk. That's what Stan Lee liked about Hulk. He liked the idea of he couldn't control it. Um, and I think him and Wolvie, have an interesting dynamic. Which is the word of the day here when they're fighting each other because typically Logan, you can't really beat him. I mean, you can knock him out, I guess, but that's about it because he's going to get back up.
Yep.
And Hulk doesn't stop. Like there's, he's kind of irresistible. If he wants to get you bad enough, he's probably going to get you. And it's just it's kind of the irresistible force and the immovable object. Which one wins? Well, in
Yep.
this case, Hulk wins usually, but
But
it's still
ultimately,
fun to watch.
Wolverine wins because it
Yes.
is canon, although it's in the future. It is canon that Wolverine does kill Hulk. He actually
Yes.
kills him, right?
And Wolverine. Wolverine does kill Wolverine in the end. Well, his
Oh,
bones.
I see. But yeah, well, okay, yeah, that was dumb. But the Old Man Logan is one of my favorite. I guess you could call it an Elseworld, I guess, but it is actual canon. It's not a what if. And but I did love that. When I first time I read that, I was like, now this is someone who has balls and is just writing a cool story. And of course,
Yeah.
they went and screwed it up. They went and fucked it up. Of course, they did. But that original Old Man Logan was badass, dude. It had the same impact on me as the Noir run with Iron Man and Spider Man and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, Hulk is a great enemy of of Wolverine, and you're right. Hulk should be a big old rage machine, because Stan Lee had said, and he's 100% right. This is the most tragic character in comic books,
Yeah.
and it is. It's absolutely tragic. But he has other ones. I want to cover a couple other ones that are very Wolverine specific because Sabretooth you can find in different things. Hulk is all over the place, of course. But we also have a couple other characters. You get Lady Deathstrike, and of course you
Mm.
have the Silver Samurai. Now these are extremely specific. Silver Samurai maybe he has a few things outside of Wolverine, I suppose. But the Lady Deathstrike is definitely a direct connection, Weapon X program connection to
Yeah.
Wolverine. Now, I've never been a huge fan of Lady Deathstrike because I think she's dumb looking. And the way they did her in the movie, I thought was much cooler.
Hmm.
So that's a change that I actually appreciated. However, these two villains are integral to Wolverine's stories, particularly Silver Samurai. because
Mm.
he and Wolverine are linked in their history. Wolverine has his own thing separate from Silver Samurai, but Silver Samurai is without question linked to Wolverine.
Hmm.
Logan, because during that time, before the war, Wolverine was in Japan training. And he
Yeah.
had fell in love, and this guy was a yakuza dude, and or ninja, I guess, whatever that group was. But that was an interesting little storyline with Wolverine in Japan. I liked it. I thought it was cool, and I liked the fact that they said it long time ago before the war. That was cool. But what do you think about Silver Samurai or Lady Deathstrike?
I've always liked the idea of Silver Samurai more so, I think, than his execution. I like the idea of a weapon that can actually hurt Wolverine. I think
Yeah,
that's cool. I don't. The name Silver Samurai is very comic booky,
yeah,
but
it is.
the armor and everything. I love samurai armor. I think it's beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah,
It's better looking, in my opinion, than most Western alternatives. But I think the concept is cool. I think he just needs a better name, to be honest, to resonate better.
yeah,
Um,
that's fair.
but I do like Silver Samurai. Lady Deathstrike always seemed to me as like they needed a chick one. And they came up, what if her nails grow? Ooh, eh,
Yeah,
no.
that's why I never liked
It
that. I never cared
and
for
it
her.
doesn't make sense either. How does that work? How do those nails come out of her fingers? And then
Yeah,
she still has working fingers.
yeah,
How does that make sense?
yeah. It's comic books, right? But I never cared for her much either. Roger says, "What about Omega Red?" Well, sure, Omega Red, Gorgon,
Oh yeah,
Wendigo,
Omega Red.
Cyclops. I mean, there's a long list, dude. There is.
I don't know what
Uh,
it is about Omega Red, but I've always loved Omega Red.
yeah, he's
He's just
cool.
a, he's such a fun character.
Yeah. But
He just
also,
is.
Omega Red isn't specifically Wolverine. Wolverine certainly fought
Correct.
him, but he's not specific. I chose the Hulk and Sabretooth because there's some of the most iconic Wolverine comic books that have those two in it. Lady
Yeah.
Deathstrike and Silver Samurai I chose because, well, they're integral to that storyline. That's why I chose these four. I could have went on for hours talk about Wolverine, guys, but
Oh yeah.
I wanted to keep it succinct.
Well,
Yeah,
also, Hulk and Wolverine with like the Old Man Logan story, like you're talking about, their fates are linked anyway.
yeah,
Because in that storyline, he has to deal with the Hulks, and they just are tied together for whatever reason.
hmm
In Marvel's canon, in Marvel's lore, I
hmm
don't think it's anything like official. It's just they keep popping up in each other's timelines.
yeah.
Um, and I like that. I think that's perfectly fine, and I have no reason. I don't have any reason to find fault with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we get upset at a lot of the silly things that Marvel, DC as well, do with the characters these days because it's all about politic, right?
Yep.
However, one of the most egregious shit they've done is what they did with the Old Man Logan character. Someone needs to
Yep.
be slapped triple time, dude. Because that story, it's a future setting. It's not technically an Elseworld. It is in canon. However, look at the premise of that story. The world has gone literally to hell. The villains have won, right? Everything is a disaster. People are living in poverty. He's living in a situation where he's just trying to have a family. He's under control of a place that's under control of a bunch of Hulk kids, right?
Yeah.
He started the whole problem. It's his fault the world is in this situation because Mysterio made him thought villains, the Thunderbolts, bolts or Thunderballs or whatever it was, were attacking the mansion, and he's the one who killed all the X-Men. He did,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And of course, in the Logan movie, they made us feel like it was Charles had done something. They shouldn't have. It should have been Wolverine, but I get why they did that. So you have this premise: he's completely defeated and beaten on his knees, and blind Hawkeye. I mean, come on, pulls him in to go try to save the world. He comes back. His family's been literally eaten by Hulk kids, and he loses his shit and kills everybody. Everybody. You cannot create a more epic Logan story. It is impossible. That is badass. Just think about it. That's the premise, right? Of that
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
of that mini run.
Old Man Logan was wild.
It was freaking awesome, Booster. It was badass comic book, is what it was. We're just
And as
having a
Eric
chat
Logan
about
says,
Wolverine.
inbred Hulk kids. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
nasty.
it was awesome, dude.
Well, it was Bruce Banner and Jessica, right? The old She-Hulk
Yeah, well, he
cousin.
basically kidnapped her and raped
Yeah.
her over and over and over and over. Yeah, yeah.
Well, what
Oh,
happened to Bruce? Like, holy shit, Bruce!
Well,
What
he's
happened,
gone
buddy?
because the Hulk's in charge. Bruce is gone, right? There is no
Uh,
Bruce, right?
well, that's the big problem I have with humanizing the Hulk is because when you do that, you lose a bit of Bruce every time, because Bruce is the humanized version of the Hulk.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
point. And I just don't. I personally never liked it. That's my biggest gripe with it. I think it. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's cool. You get like World War Hulk and stuff like that. But when you take a step back and think about the implications for the character, you're like, oh, because you kind of killed it a little bit, and kind of the same way with Logan with Wolverine. Once you know who he is and his backstory, well, you lose a piece of him. You lose a piece of Logan because now you know more about what's his real name, James, I think. Now you know more about him, and Logan is less real. Logan is lesser because he's
James Howlett.
Yeah, Howlett.
Yeah, James, what a gay name.
What a ridiculous name.
I actually have a review of Hulk Future Imperfect that we all quite liked. And one of the very dehumanized Hulk is the Maestro, who's a
Maestro, yeah,
also
Maestro,
another fucking monster.
Yeah. You can do a lot with the Hulk. That's true. But I'm going to move on to our next story here. I just wanted to start out talking a little bit about comic book characters. Would you like to make any comments or give your impressions of Wolverine before I do, Booster?
I think Wolverine is rad.
He is
He
rad.
has claw and he stab.
He does. Yes.
He does this over and over and over. In
He's
fact,
he's the best at his job, and what he does is not pretty.
That's true, but now he's not though because the girl version is the best at it, which he does, not him anymore.
With only 2 claws
with
on
only
each
2.
arm.
Well, she got a couple on the feet too. Yeah.
Oh my god, she must be so good. Well, she does have feet as well. You don't consider that.
She got pheromones. You know, she's a better version.
So dumb.
What a shame because that character, which sounds like it was the Inception came out of Ethan Van Sciver of all people.
Yes.
But that was a cool character. I liked the character quite a bit. I especially liked the run of him trying to figure out how to deal with her and fix her broken psyche because bad shit happened to this girl, right? I love the whole thing until they decided to turn her into a feminist icon of some weird kind which is odd. It's not what she is. She's a broken character that's attached to Wolverine. But whatever. Stupid people. Let's move on. It is cool though. It is very cool. All right, here we go.
Okay, critic reviews arrive for Marvel's Eternals film. Is this out?
I guess at least the review embargo is up. Yeah. So now,
so it's just the critics who can look at it right now.
Right. So we would assume because of the absolute, this is the most woke Marvel thing they've created so far. We would assume that the critics must be in line, right? Because we know they're bought and owned, right? But it is interesting if we come down here and take a look at it because it's only got a 63% positive review, which is 72%, fresh because this is not the actual level. This is what if it's 50, if it's 5, it's considered fresh, right? But so the critics don't really like it very much. Which is odd because it's supposed to be the most rad, awesome, woke thing ever. And I thought we'd take a look and read some of the comments from these critics. I know we don't care about the critics very much, but there's a whole bunch of them here, and I thought we'd take a look at them because I think they're funny.
When the critics don't fall in line.
Yes, I agree. But we got a whole bunch of them here. Go ahead and read.
I see one person that refers to it as insipid. Insipid, Chester.
Well, that's kind of the general tone if you read them. Go ahead and read Larry's here.
Feels like a bit of homework if you don't want the rest of the class to move on without you. It's mandatory. But in the end, you'll just be glad to turn it in and to move along the next thing.
Wow.
So here's one reason why Rotten Tomatoes is a terrible place to go to for a idea of quality, right? The percentage they use, the 75%, right?
Mhm.
For example, what they'll do with that is they'll take however amount of critics it is, whether it be 20 critics or 200 critics, right? What they'll do is they'll decide whether or not a review is positive or negative, and then they'll just add that to the percentage, right?
Yeah.
So that's all it is. That
That's it.
75% is a percentage of positive reviews. But sometimes when you look at these reviews on a case by case basis, it can be like 2 out of 4 stars and they're like, it was okay. And then
Yeah.
they'll add that to the positive score,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
You could get like a movie with 90% positive reviews, but that's all they gave it. It's just like a, eh. So it's just a really terrible way of looking at movies. So what does this guy say? The scale of Eternals is unlike anything we've seen to date in the MCU, but it also ends up in a movie that is just too much on its plate. Does that sound like a positive review?
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of required to give it a positive review, and you're right.
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes is absolutely insipid in and of itself. But
Yeah.
these reviews go on. A disappointment of cosmic proportion. Interesting.
Ooh.
The fight-driven action is fun. Jolie really has a ball, but it all feels geared towards setting up for further events. So
So all of
where's
these so far are probably positive Rotten Tomato
they are
reviews.
they are yeah.
Yeah. Eternals is a decent flick, but it really manages to rise above what we've already seen on the MCU with the visual style here.
Hmm.
Hmm.
A convoluted cosmic misfire and one of Marvel's dullest efforts in years.
Ooh. What do we have? A 4 out of 5. That's more positive. Eternals will likely be one of the more divisive films in the Marvel Cinematic
Wonderful.
Universe. No matter how you feel about Eternals, there's no denying Phase 4 is off to an exciting start. Well, there you go. That's positive.
A
By
little bit.
comicbook.com.
Yeah, it's basically saying that, yeah, most people are going to hate it, but it's interesting.
More or less, actually, yeah.
Now, this
Eternals is
person,
beautiful in its
yeah,
visuals and its storytelling. Okay.
this person liked it. Okay. Let's see here. Give the 2.5 out of 5, so a middling review. She writes that the weight of complicated exposition weakens the energy of Eternals as a little too often. It's at its best when the focus is on the Eternals recreating their family, the humor of it, and the passion when they fight for each other and the things they love. Okay, well, each other. They're supposed to be. All right, whatever. Boy,
See,
that
that
looks like.
sounds pretty positive, but she gave it a 2.5.
Right, yeah. But I mean, and it goes on and on and on. This movie, uh, I'm kind of curious. What do you think Feige's doing with this? He knows this is going to fail. He knows it's going to fail, right? So why are they putting it out knowing that it's going to fail? What do you think the point is?
I think the answer's in all those reviews. It's just to set up what's coming next. So if I had to guess, we know Kang's obviously coming, but we don't know for certain Kang's going to be the next big bad of the MCU. We just know he's coming. This could be what bridges the gap between when Kang finally, is Kang, and what's the interim going to look like, right? So they need to set up that storyline of what they do in the meantime while they get Kang more and more set up, because while the Loki show happens and Kang's in that show, and at the end you get the big reveal that he's in control of the timelines and blah, 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 it doesn't set up what they're going to do about it. It just shows Loki kind of befuddled and, oh my god, kind of moment, right? That's what we get at the end of that. So
Yeah,
this is going to set
disgusting.
up... Yes, this is going to set up the other side of the MCU that we haven't really seen yet, which is more of the cosmic stuff, as these reviews have been saying.
Yeah, sure.
And even in the trailer, you see who created them, the Celestials. You see one of them in all of their glory in the trailer, or what
Right.
we assume is one of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the
So I
Celestials are
think what
the
it's doing,
Inception.
what we're gonna see happen here is that the Eternals are going to set up the sub boss of the next phase or the next two phases that is going to have to be dealt with. That'll lead into Kang, or Kang will end up being the sub boss, and whatever their setup will lead. Kang will lead to that.
You would
That
think
is what
that
I
would
think
be
the
true.
whole purpose of this is.
And
Because as
yeah.
far as like as an overarching like story, I think that's what it is. Now, why did Feige do it in this movie with this stuff? Because he's a political hack. That's why.
Yeah. It's probably true. I do have a couple of questions though, in regards to that, because Kang would make a better sub boss, where Galactus being the ultimate bad guy. But that's aside. I'm curious because they knew they were going to make this film. This film has been in development for a very long time. It's been pushed back as
Mhm.
well. This is not a new thing. They've been working on this for a long time, even back before the Infinity War. This was already known to be. So
Yep.
why then was there not a single word drop, probably from Doctor Strange would have made the most sense, that Thanos was an Eternal? Why didn't they even hint at it?
Well, you see, Chester, because they're dumb. I don't know how else to put it for you. The same reason why Doctor Strange was never, to this day, Doctor Strange. The same reason why we had to shoehorn in Captain Marvel for literally no benefit in that movie. She
Yeah.
accomplished nothing.
He
That
took out a
anybody
big
else
ship, and he
literally
got
Thor
punched
could have
out of the
done that.
movie.
Yeah, literally punched into oblivion with one punch. Um, the same reason why the Spider-Man movies have all been lackluster. Even the last one, which I've never seen, but I hear is actually decent. It's still just it just falls dull, feels flat,
Yeah.
doesn't draw me in. It's because the original plans for the MCU laid out obviously a roadmap. Now it wasn't a very specific one, I don't think, because I think they added more and more characters over time as the movies just kept being successful. But the original plan was obviously to eventually get to Thanos. I mean, it was teased in the first Avengers movie. That was clearly the plan, right?
Hmm.
They didn't know what to do after that. So why didn't they mention the Eternals in the Doctor Strange or in the thing? Because they didn't know that they were going to have Thanos be connected to them. That's why. Because they don't have this stuff planned out. Like we think they do. Like they did going into the first Avengers movie. But after that first Avengers movie, especially after Age of Ultron, they completely changed everything. If you noticed, Thor
Yeah,
was
no, I
no
did.
longer looking for the Infinity Stones like he was supposed to be after in Age of Ultron. That's why he left to go find the rest of the Infinity Stones.
Yep.
Never brought up again, as far as I can
They
remember, in
switched
any of his
things.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and they switched the entire tone. While it was always a little bit, tongue in cheek, funny and snarky, it went from that to being every 5 minutes they're throwing out one-liners after that, and that was largely due to Ragnarok. But they switched the tone entirely. And the two brothers, whoever they are, what's their name? I can't remember their names. The Russos. They took over. They weren't supposed to be the leads of Infinity War and Endgame originally, but because they had done such a good job in some of the other films, they got handed the ball. And for one of the movies, they did amazing. And then the other movie was...
Yeah.
But the first one was good.
That was suits
My
involved,
point...
clearly. Yeah.
you just nailed it. My point is the plans keep changing, and it's obvious they keep changing because the things I just mentioned.
Yeah.
Plot threads are just dropped and never talked about again. What happened to Tony's alcoholism? I don't know. Never talked about again after Iron Man 3. He just got better, I guess. What happened to there's a bunch of different ones who my brain's blanking on, but
That's
the Thor one's the big one. Why did Thanos smirk about death at the end of that? At the first credit scene that he shows up in, right? He says something. The guy says something about death, and he smirks, and then he never talks about death again.
Well,
in that manner.
that was a wink, wink Easter egg for us, dude.
No, it's because they didn't have a plan. The original plan, I guarantee you, was to do Thanos like the comics Thanos,
Death,
where he's obsessed with
maybe.
death. the whole deal, and they changed it to turn him into some sort of eco-fascist, probably because it played better to focus groups or something.
Maybe.
And that's why it happened, because the original Thanos was actually insane. He was a crazy man. He was completely nuts, whereas this Thanos, he just had a crazy idea.
Yeah,
Other than that, he was completely rational.
you know why he was crazy, by the way? Canon in the comic books, because he was picked on by the other Eternals when he was a kid.
Yep.
Is that actually true?
Yeah, it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
They
That's
drove him
fucking
mad.
hilarious.
Yeah.
So he's just a cosmic version of a school shooter.
Yeah,
Yes.
he is, yeah. Yeah. But hello, Lady Celtic Moon. Yeah, you did see something, Joshua, on Twitter about Thanos' brother Eros. He's being played by the gay Jonas brother, which I don't know which
Yep.
one. They kind of all seem gay to me. But the one that likes to wear dresses, and the girls are excited about it. I hate to burst your bubble, girls. He's not interested in you,
Not one
right?
bit.
Not at all.
But I think that answers your question. I went a real long about way of doing it, but basically, Josh summed it up perfectly. The plans changed.
Yeah,
They didn't intend for that to be a tie-in until later, obviously, or they would have mentioned it, because those sorts of things is how they had been doing everything, right? Little Easter eggs here or there,
Yeah.
mentioning things here or there.
Yeah, I don't mind the change in making him an eco-terrorist in that way. I didn't mind that change.
No,
I
me
just
neither.
don't like the way they ended it because they didn't end it. They just were like, all right, we got to promote these next characters. Let's spend a whole movie doing it. That
Yeah.
was the era. I do have another question for Booster though, because he has the mindset to be able to explain this. Why? Does the lesbian Asian lady partner with the little girl? And I know she's not a little girl; she's millennia old. But why, Booster? Why?
Yeah. Well, what's wrong with a lesbian Asian lady being partnered up with a little girl?
Okay, all right.
Are you concerned that she will be cosmically molested?
I do. I am
Yeah.
concerned. Yes, I am a little bit concerned. Yeah, a little bit.
Rather than, of course, regularly molested. There is a
Yeah,
difference.
yeah, it's true. Well, the thing is,
Oh, the differences.
and our boy Zach Bradley had pointed this out, Booster, that
Nice.
it's kind of like when those people try to get away in the comic books or games where they make the elf girls really small little girls, but they get away with this. Oh, she's 200 years old. It's still pedophilia, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
still weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still weird and creepy. But anyway, are you surprised? This is ultra woke Hollywood right here. This is their platform. But interesting because the people who are ordered to like it don't really like it.
If I'll be honest,
Hmm.
if this fails, I'm not gonna. I wouldn't blame wokeness. I would just blame it not looking like a very interesting movie.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, well, it's probably a combination of it, I would say. Yeah, because
And
people are
The
really
what the
woke.
sick of
fuck
it,
is
Booster.
Eternals? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd hope so. I want to believe that, but I don't know yet if people are sick of it or if people are just beginning to comply with it and are just exhausted by it.
And well,
I
it's probably all
Well,
true.
I think a little bit of both. But here's what Eternal's wokeness is. It's the corn in the diarrhea from the food poisoning you ate
Oh,
last night.
that's right. Yeah.
That's the analogy we're going with, Booster. It's the corn in your diarrhea. Because you don't want the
That's
corn in
fair.
your diarrhea. You don't want that there. But the
I
diarrhea is the real
I don't
issue.
want the diarrhea at all. Yeah, I mean, oh god, I want to spray corn out of my ass.
Now, here's the most important question, however. We know that old Jolie here removed her mammary glands, and of course she has
Yeah.
silicone in there now. So here's the thing: did she go for the exact same time, or did she go for an upgrade? Hmm?
And when it comes to fake boobs, I don't care. They're gross.
Yeah, I'm not a big fake boob guy either. Booster doesn't care though.
Saying I'll give them a go out of curiosity, but because I haven't tried one out. I haven't
Well,
squeezed one. I don't know if it feels weird.
oh no, I felt them before. They are weird.
Are
That's
they?
for damn sure. Yeah, they
Do
feel
they feel
weird.
different? They feel different?
They
Oh,
do feel
oh, that's
different. Yeah,
weird.
yeah,
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 alright. I
yeah, they
might
do.
have to pass. I mean, I'll give one a go to test ride for myself.
Yeah, no, you should.
And
You have to
until
have
then, yeah,
comparison. Fair enough.
yeah, yeah.
But I think she actually went for an upgrade. I think her boobs are slightly bigger than they were. I think she did. Which they were big enough before, Miss Jolie. Anyway, let's
I would,
move on. I'm
I'd do
getting
that as well.
disturbed.
If my cock fell off, I'd get a bigger one, a new one, an upgrade.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
But
Yeah.
in my case, I need one. Ugh.
Oh, go ahead, dude.
I'm in the kitchen if you're waiting for me to read his
Oh, go ahead, Thunder.
headline.
Rumor: Warner Brothers developing Birds of Prey sequel without Margot Robbie or Harley Quinn. Well, I can tell you
I mean,
with full confidence that nobody asked for this.
No.
Nobody.
No.
I mean, she was supposed to not be in Birds of Prey in the first place anyway.
No, right?
She's
She
not one of the
shouldn't have.
Birds of Prey.
Well, here's the problem, though, Booster, because I don't like Harley Quinn, so I'm happy with this news in and of that fact. However, why would we want another Birds of Prey anyway? It's stupid. All the ones they chose are wrong in every way. None of them are right. Why would we want to continue this nonsense? I mean, anybody?
I don't know. The
I got nothing for
movie
you.
was AIDS. If you could turn AIDS into a film, it would be Birds of Prey, and I hope no one watched it because now you have AIDS. I don't make the rules.
That's true.
That's how it is.
It's
And it
infectious.
was so terrible. So terrible. They tried all the outrage marketing tricks in the world for it. They did everything they could to get people to hate watch this movie because they knew nobody was going to watch it otherwise. And even that didn't work.
Mhm.
Why in God's righteous butthole would you make a sequel to that?
Yeah, no, it's weird, dude. And on top of it, the main
And
villain
without
is
without the draw being Harley Quinn.
Right.
I hate
Yeah.
to say it, but Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn would have been the only draw.
It's true. No, it is true. The villain is the calculator. Okay. And this is being set up and introduced through the Batwoman show.
Wait, the calculator
Yeah.
is the bet. Oh, yeesh. Oh, that's brutal.
It's brutal, dude. It is brutal.
Of all the guys to pick, you pick the calculator?
You know, the only time I ever saw the calculator used well was if you were playing a villain in the DC universe. He's
Yeah.
the guy that talks to you and helps you get out of the
Yeah.
Brainiac's ship.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was a cool
This
use
is
of him.
calculator. And he had a nice voice, nice
He
like
did.
smooth
He
voice.
did.
It was
He
nice.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a debacle. My God, Batwoman literally should not have had any further seasons. Its rating was so bad, and every season they come out, they get worse and worse. I don't know what they're doing. Of course, we have
Like,
all
could
the
they not get
controversy.
their hands on Clue Master? What's going on?
Right, right. Ah, and of course, you have those silly girls that have been chosen to play the various characters, which they don't suit them. But yeah, you go calculator, and of course, you're not going to see him much. You're going to see his robotic assassin burn rate is going to be the main action thing they're going to have to face, I'm sure. But whatever. Uh-huh. And I wanted to, before I move on to the next story, I want to talk a little bit about, of course, next week I will talk a little bit more about horror stuff because it will be my Halloween. It's the day after your Halloween, of course. But I want to talk a little bit about horror movies, if you don't mind, just for a second here. Now, one of the things that bothers me is there's not a lot of good horror movies lately. They're either just cheap scares, garbage, B movies. Now, there's been plenty of good B garbage movies in the past that worked, that were fun because they had schlock. But these days they've removed schlock completely from cinema. I don't know why, but they have. And it just makes it dumb and cheap. It doesn't have that fun factor at all. Halloween Kills is a perfect example. They went political with it, and it has no fun in it at all, and it makes Michael look weak and useless. It's dumb. There's only one scene in that movie that's interesting, and that's Michael testing out knives on a dead body, seeing which one he likes best. That's it. A little 30, 40-second little clip is the only thing worth watching that whole movie for. However, about 5 years ago, a movie came out that literally had a horrific feel. A really, really had a horrific feel. And that's The Autopsy of Jane Doe. Now, have you guys seen that movie yet?
Negative.
Okay. If you like horror movies and you want an actual scary movie, go watch this because it is spectacular. It's low budget, it's cheap, it's done on a single set. Basically, the whole movie is in one place, but it's really, really well done. It's really, really good. And it doesn't have any schlock at all either. So they pulled it off without schlock. So it's a straight up scary movie, and it's horrific as it should be. It's not just bloody or just the cat scare and stuff like that. Although they do have a cat scare in it, I think that's mandatory. However, if you want to see a really good scary movie this Halloween, go watch The Autopsy of Jane Doe because it's beautiful. I'm not going to tell you a damn thing about it because it'll ruin it. But go watch this movie, dude. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. No, seriously. Because there has.
I see. The big problem with me is I just don't like horror movies.
I
Even
love
the
them.
even the older ones, the ones that actually were screw with your brain. It's like, do I want my brain screwed with? I think the world is kind of the horror movie now. I'm
Yeah, that's
good.
fair. Yeah, but we're dealing with supernatural, mystical things that aren't real, so
Oh,
it's
so are we.
yeah, that's fair. But I really like horror movies, and there's just been so much crap. Even the movie I suggested to you guys a couple weeks ago, Red Blood Sky or Blood Red Sky, which is a German flick. It's basically a bloody grotesque drama. It's not scary at all. It's well done. It's a fun little movie. It's another low budget cheap movie that's done well. But it just isn't really good scary stuff. Another suggestion for scary actual horror movie would be the remake of The Haunting that came out, what, 15, 16 years ago. Now, that got horrible credit reviews, and I don't know why, or critic reviews, sorry. I don't know why, because that is going to be one of the best horror soundtracks I've ever heard in my life. And it's really, it's hardly has hardly any blood at all in it. But it's horrific, and I don't think people understand the difference between something that is horror and something that is grotesque, right?
Yep.
Because horror is psychological, where grotesque is visual, right? And I don't know how many horror fans we have here, but
I I don't know if people understand the difference between horror and cheap jump scares, or
yeah,
being terrified and being startled is
yeah, that's
the big difference there.
good point. Very good point.
Hmm.
And there's so much crap that's been coming out because horror movies are the cheapest, easiest movie to make. So every year we get a dozen or more of them, right? But they're just so bad. And the thing they're missing, Booster, is the schlock. Well, that's what made
Schlock helps.
well, it does. Well, that's what made Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, the Halloween
It
stuff.
makes them fun.
That's what makes them fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, One of my favorite quotes to do with the matter with horror versus jump scares is a game reviewer. He was talking about Dead Space 2.
Yeah.
And Dead Space 2 is a game that constantly throws jump scares at your
Yeah.
face, right? To
Yeah.
make you jump. And he says, yeah, sure, Dead Space made me jump, right? But it didn't scare me.
No.
A possum flew through my window the other day, and I was startled, but it doesn't make it the Orson Welles of marsupials.
That's right. Well, if you want a really scary video game, go play Silent Hill.
That's
That's
classic.
scary. They got that atmosphere perfect in those things, dude.
Piss
But
yourself.
it's well done, right? It's well done. And in the end, that's not even supernatural storyline. Spoilers. It's actually a neat little twist in Silent Hill. If you haven't played the games, I suggest you do. They're really well done. Even the movie's not that bad. Yeah. But anyway, just a
Isn't
little.
that the one movie where Sean Bean doesn't die?
Uh, maybe,
And he
maybe.
doesn't die in Silent Hill? He dies in every movie, but he survives 2 Silent Hill movies. Someone explain this.
Well, it's the fate of the universe coming into play. But anyway, I know this is an obscure movie a lot of people haven't heard of. I'm telling you, if you want a good actual horror movie, go watch this. It's really cool. The premise is cool. The acting is great. It's just a solid movie, dude. And when you see who's in it, you'll understand because, like, oh yeah, that guy's a solid actor. He's a character actor, been around forever. But anyway, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. Those are good horror movies as well, Eric said. Yeah, okay, I'm going to move on. It's Halloween time and we should watch some good scary movies. Go watch this one. All right, moving on. Next story. More happiness. I have a lot of happiness
Oh.
today.
Mike Barron launches crowdfund campaign for pro-police graphic novel Thin Blue Line. Oh yeah, so they're gonna beat people into COVID submission?
No. Well, we like Mike over here. He's a nice guy. He came on probably the best interview we've ever had. It was either him or I can't remember the other guy's name, but it was a really good interview talking to Mike Barron here. He was a great guest. We support Mike because he's a good writer. I mean, he's been doing this for quite a long time. This is an interesting thing. It's over on Indiegogo, Thin Blue Line. You can check it out. Basically what they've done here, what he's done here, is he's created a Precinct 13 esque storyline. Now I don't know if you guys have seen Precinct 13. Why can't I say that correctly, Booster? What's going on? My brain had a
I don't know
hiccup.
what's happening. Is it a bit of a tongue twist for you? Precinct 13?
Precinct 13. Yeah, I can do it, but
You gotta
I have to concentrate.
you gotta be more distinct with the pronunciation. It's very hard to
Precinct.
say. Yeah,
Precinct.
precinct.
Precinct
Precinct.
13, which is funny because in the story in the movie, John Carpenter, of course, it's actually Precinct 9, but they called it Precinct 13 because they thought it sounded cooler. Perfect. Anyway, that's what this movie is. Excuse me, that's what this comic book is. It's neat. You have two cops, this lady cop and another guy, are basically have been tasked with guarding the mayor for this day. And there's some big hubbubaloo going on in the city, and they have to find a way to get the mayor to safety. So it's all set within a very tight time frame, and these two cops just trying to save the life of a mayor. Which probably isn't worth saving, I would imagine, coming from
Then the
Mikey.
mayor takes his mask off and they beat the shit out of him with batons.
Right, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's not much to talk about here because we don't know that we haven't read it yet. I do like Mike Barron. He's a cool guy. He is a good, actual, accomplished writer. And He's doing a Precinct 13 esque story, so you can't really lose with that, I'd say. Could be action packed. Of course, it also means that it's a compact story. We're not going to get years of it. It's just one and done, one shot, which is cool. Mike Barron, Billy Tucci, and Dan Frega. Yeah, they're all cool guys. We've been able to talk to all of them here. Isn't that cool? Any comments for a move on for this?
Nope.
No, I think it's cool though.
ACAB, burn them like bacon.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't burn
All
bacon.
cops.
Booster, do you
Burn
burn
'em
your
like
bacon?
I actually very shockingly undercook my bacon. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Do
I
you
like
like
my
your
bacon
bacon
chewy.
crispy?
Yeah,
Oh,
nah.
no,
I like it
no.
chewy, mate.
Oh,
No,
you're
no,
creepy.
no, no.
You're a creep.
Yeah, I like it bleeding. You know, I just take it out of the packet and just start fucking
Oh, you
munching.
disgusting. Rub it on yourself. Yeah, I can see it
I
happening.
rub it with my nips.
Yeah. Bacon.
It's like that scene from fucking Silence of the Lambs.
Oh my god, yeah. The Japanese undercook their pork belly as well, which I don't get because they always look at me sideways. Because one of the most common things for a family get together here in Japan is what they call a yakiniku. And basically, they just have these electrical grills on the table. They heat them up and they throw
Oh.
vegetables and very thinly sliced meat onto them, and it's a fun time. It's easy. Everybody, it's
Yeah.
communal. It's a very good family get together type of thing. However, they barely cook their butabara, which is bacon. But I always sit and I'm very meticulous with it. I I put salt and pepper on it. I let it sit. I cover it with
Salt and
paper.
pepper on your bacon?
Oh yeah, no, that's the way to go.
Yeah.
And
Bacon's already salted.
not these. These aren't. These are just cut
No? Oh,
pork.
alright.
Booster,
Yeah,
Booster, salt's good for you. Go on,
yeah.
continue.
I know, but
Um,
it's just bacon's just a salted meat. You don't need to salt
Yeah,
it.
no,
That's what I'm
usually,
saying.
but not here. They don't do it like that. And then I take a paper towel and I cover it to keep from it splattering and stuff. And I concentrate on it for a good 15 minutes because the heat is low on these things. And they think I'm weird because they put it on for like a minute and then eat it. And I'm like, it's disgusting. Anyway, but I also
It
take
is
my sashimi
disgusting.
and put it on the grill too, and they think that's weird. So
So you're telling me Japanese people just eat raw food all the time?
a lot of
That's
it,
what I'm
yeah,
hearing.
a lot of it. Yes, no, it's true. They take horse and cut it in thin slices and eat that raw too.
I'm gonna have
Chicken
to
as
Oh my
well.
goodness.
bring me
These
some
people
Japanese
animals?
ladies over here and just give them some good meat. I mean, some good food.
Oh God, no. Okay.
And also my dick. Haha.
Yeah. Well,
Let's
but
move on.
we are going to move on. But the good thing about it, though, is that because they do eat a lot of things raw, including chicken, which an American or a Westerner would never do,
Oh.
their safety protocols in Japan are unrivaled. So you
What are
can.
their
Wait,
immune systems made out of?
Well, no,
why do
I
they
can.
eat
You
raw
could eat it too.
food? Why
Yeah.
does anybody eat raw meat? That's just
Well,
weird to me.
let's be
Okay,
fair.
okay. When you talk about raw chicken, do you like cook it in lime or something?
Nope. No,
No,
it's just
so just out of
super
the
fresh.
packet, just
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
that that's just bacteria.
No,
Literally
it's
making the
super
face
clean.
of my profile picture right
Yeah.
now, my
Yeah.
avatar. I'm
Yeah.
literally making that face because I am
Well,
in despair at the culinary practices of the Japanese people. That
well,
is
You're gonna get salmonella out of that
well,
shit.
I'm not because I don't eat it. However,
Yeah.
we do have to take one factor into account that might explain it. Japanese people have a longer torso than their abdomen is actually longer than any other humans, and they actually have a longer intestinal tract than other people. There might be something to that. I mean,
so you're
they
telling me they're
literally do.
mutant freaks. Got it.
Well, every race has its own little things, dude.
Yeah.
Right?
No, we're all equal in the same, Chester.
No.
There's no differences and there's no such thing as race. That's what Twitter tells me all the time. And I
Okay.
just go, well,
Exactly.
that's just nonsense words you're saying to me right now, sir.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we are different. Like with us, the Caucasian types or the Celtic types, we have much larger, thicker bones than other people,
Yeah.
and our muscle packs are bigger, particularly along the back. Our spinal vertebrae are much thicker than others, so we have a much thicker muscle bands across our back, which is why we're able to move so much weight compared to others.
Yep.
All the races are different, you know. But whatever. Let's move on. Raw bacon.
Why I racially flex all over everywhere when I wear shorts and a t-shirt in 30-degree weather. That's why.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. This is bait.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is bacon.
This is bait. Because I'm sure that the inside of this comic has nothing to do with them picketing for climate justice. This is bait.
I'm sure it is, but I
They
have a
want you
point
to
that I
get
want to
angry
make.
at this.
Yeah.
But it is absolutely ridiculous that they're on climate strike with a monster in the background, right?
Yeah.
It looks like silliness, but I am sure this is bait. Anyway, I fucking hate Tom Taylor. I hope he gets cancer. He's the worst. He's worse than Bendis. I'll say that on air. I don't give a fuck. I hope Tom Taylor gets cancer.
Oh
DC
God.
Comics and Tom Taylor's idiocy on full display. Bisexual Superman strikes for climate justice.
Well, first of all, he's not bisexual. He's just gay. But
Yeah.
beyond that, the point I wanted to make, you guys make whatever point you want. But for me, it's like this is the dumbest thing ever because it's DC Comics, and there are dozens and dozens of characters in DC Comics, whether they be hero or villain, that could end climate change.
Yeah. Including
If it
the
were
one
real.
standing right there in the front.
Yeah, they could easily do it with their magical powers. They take out of a they don't take into account you're
There's
dealing with a supernatural, paranormal storyline. These things would
there's
not be
a
real in their world.
there's a sign that says there's no planet B when we know that there
There
are
are
literally
dozens of planet
infinite
Bs.
planets
Yeah.
when
in the
when
DC
when
universe.
by the way, Superman, Earth was his planet B.
Yeah,
Right. That's true. Yeah, that's true. It is his
but
planet B.
this is his planet B. Yeah, this is not his first one.
But it's just so dumb because these
Well, both
guys,
this version of Superman and the previous one, because the previous Superman came from another universe. So
Yeah.
I
And also Aquaman, I'm assuming that's who that is behind him.
that's Aqualad.
Well, regardless, you you come from Atlantis, bro. You
And-
fix
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
What do you
no, right?
mean?
And also, they've lightened him up incredibly here. Keep in mind, he is a black boy, but I'm
Yeah.
sure he's gay now. So they have all the gay people in the picture now.
To be honest, if there's anyone that should be concerned with climate, it would be the Atlantis guys. They'd be like, "Hey, can you stop polluting us, please?
Yeah,
Stop
Yeah.
throwing your shit in the ocean. What are you doing?
Yeah,
We'll
no,
come up there."
absolutely right. So that's the dumbness of it, because you literally, if you wanted to deal with it, you could do a comic book where the superheroes get together and they end climate change. Easy, easy,
Done.
done, right?
Dumb.
Simple.
So yeah, okay, Tom Taylor, go have
See,
another
Superman-
car.
Fake flicks his fingers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Superman can literally just push the planet a little bit further out, and there you go. Problem solved.
Yep.
Now we don't have to worry about the sun overheating anything. Just like a little bit. Doesn't have to go far. Just a little bit.
Just
And now we're fine. Everything's fine.
So yeah, dumb, of course, but this has nothing to do with telling fun stories, or they're just screaming their politics. Anyway, moving on.
Moving on. Marvel currently developing World War Hulk solo film.
Well,
Yes.
Now, it is a rumor.
Oh.
I'm curious though, because we kind of got a World War Hulk, kinda in Ragnarok.
Got like a glimpse of World War Hulk on
glimpse
the
of it.
side. Yeah.
And if they did actually tell World War Hulk, they wouldn't tell it correctly because he's an absolute tyrant. He's got just women at his bear, right? So if they made World War Hulk, what kind of abortion would it be?
The worst.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
there's no
and it-
way they could tell it.
It would
the way it's
literally
supposed to
just
told.
be an animated movie because the main character would be Hulk, and he'd be Hulk the whole time,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So it would just be an animated movie. Like, why? Okay, make a World War Hulk animated movie. I think they already have one actually.
I mean,
They do.
Planet Hulk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Planet
Yeah.
Hulk, and it's very good.
I
And
just
it doesn't shy away.
you kind of blew your load on this, guys. Sorry to tell you. Like, you had a chance before Ragnarok to maybe do this for real this time. You sent Hulk out into space, and then you threw him in with a Thor story, and that was it. And you even did the shot there of him in the armor and everything. And
Well, that's his
If
kid,
If they
I
were
think. isn't
smart,
it?
if they were smart, they'd fucking do Future Imperfect. Because that
Oh,
way
yeah.
you can tease the future of MCU with all sorts of Easter eggs and shit. Give us a glimpse into the future of MCU while telling a great story, and then send Hulk back. And he could be like, "Guys, there's a thing coming, and we have to prepare."
I just don't think they have the balls to actually do a World War Hulk. I just don't think they do.
I
Yeah.
would really. World War Hulk is great and all, but the one I want to see is World Breaker. I think World
Yeah.
Breaker is one of Hulk's coolest iteration. Maybe his coolest version is World Breaker Hulk. I think that could be sweet in a movie. I think that would be the one that would translate the best to a movie. If you're going to do a solo Hulk movie, there's no reason to do, Hulk just fighting Abomination or something again. World Breaker Hulk is awesome. The problem is, it would take too much setup now to do it justice, right? Are we going to get a Civil War again?
Yeah.
Remember Captain Civil War, where it was Civil War only because, well, they don't like each other, whereas the actual storyline of Civil War, while some people hate it, some people love it, it was a big deal. it was set up for a long time, and it took a long
Yeah.
time to play out. It wasn't just 20 minutes at the end of a movie.
Right. No, it does take a long.
Yeah, there was hatred boiling there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I agree 100%. I mean, but if they did it like the animated series or animated movie, which was good, it could be fun. But they just don't. They do not have the balls for this. So I don't know what kind of rumor this is. I don't believe we're going to get World War Hulk at all. I don't believe that. It's just not in the narrative for them. Which is too bad because it would be fun if they were more real and visceral about their storytelling. But it doesn't fit the narrative, so I think this is
Well,
bullshit.
they've also made Hulk too much of a pussy.
Yeah, they have.
Uh,
Yeah,
he got stomped out by Thanos and never got his comeuppance at all. Never
Yeah.
once confronted him again. Nothing. That whole storyline was just dropped.
yeah,
That
yeah,
was really weird. It seemed like with Infinity War they were gonna do this thing where Hulk finds his bravery again to come out, and he comes out to be awesome to fight Thanos again. No, he just hides, and then that's never paid off.
yeah. I
Chekhov's
know
gun, people.
it
Yep.
is. No, that's right. No, you're 100% right.
Chekhov's gun. You do not leave a gun unfired.
Correct.
Yeah, unless you're Alec
And the
Baldwin.
Ooh,
Hey, in
and the
that
worst
case,
part,
the whole set's a firing range, baby.
the, the worst part is in that movie, in Endgame, they easily could have.
Yeah,
They had it set up where you had the three guys face off with Thanos. Why wasn't Hulk there?
yeah.
Why
Oh, my
is he
arm hurts.
terribly CGI'd into Iron Buster? Fucking whatever.
Oh, yeah,
Hulkbuster
that was
armor.
bad.
Yeah.
That was bad.
Well, I'm more than likely he was supposed to be in the place where Captain Marvel was doing stuff.
Yep.
Imagine he
But they
burst
had
out
to
from
put
the
her in.
inside of that armor. That would have been rad.
It would
It
have
would
been
have been
rad.
very cool, dude. Yeah, it would have been an awesome scene. Yeah, but you're right. They didn't pay that off. They didn't pay that off at all.
Uh,
But well, a lot of things weren't paid off. Let's move on here. This next story here is more for those of you who are collectors. I know a lot of people like collecting, like sideshow collectible stuff or memorabilia, what have you. This is more about the action figures, and I know there's a lot of people who love collecting these things. We got a couple in our community for sure. I know that Eric here, who's in the chat, he's definitely a collector. He's a Funko Pop guy. Are you a Funko Pop guy, Booster? You seem like a Funko Pop guy.
Nope. We just lost a booster.
Yeah, he's dead. We'll just go with it. I'm pretty sure he is. He feels like a Funko Pop guy. But are you a collector at all, Thundera?
No, not of that anyway.
Well,
Not at all. It just never. I don't know. It just never appealed to me. Like, why collect things you're not supposed to ever touch?
yeah, no, I get
Like,
that. I get that. Yeah, that's true.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Just strange to me. It's kind of like people who have comic book collections that with books they've never opened. I get.
yeah.
Oh,
I
it's
don't.
more valuable that way. Okay, but
I've read every comic I own. Yeah, I don't.
yeah,
I never
exactly.
understood that either. Booster does love Funkos. I'm pretty sure, Josh, you're right. But I do. I'm a collector. But I collect old books. And I've spent some ridiculously stupid money that has frustrated my wife on several occasions. But I do collect old books. Um, but I read those as well, even though I have books that are a couple hundred years old, right? But I still read them, though. I don't do
Right.
that whole put them in a case crap. I buy them to read them because I find myself in a unique position that most people don't. I actually can read them, books in their original language for the most part, right? And
Mm,
so for me it's a different kind of experience. It's the argument, it's the subtitle argument, right? Some people would rather have it dubbed because they hate having to read the subtitles. Other people like me would rather have subtitle to help my understanding, because most movies, whatever language is in, I'm going to be able to follow most of it, if not, depending on the language, maybe all of it. But the subtitles help me fill in the little holes that I might have in my skill. So I understand that I'm weird in that regard. But I am a collector. So just
yeah.
not this thing. So some people are collectors, some aren't. I heard rumors that Booster has a toenail clipping collection, but I can't confirm that. Okay. Anyway, I thought it would be interesting though, Thundera, to take a look. Did he get called by Siege or something?
I'm assuming.
Yeah, probably. Didn't even say goodbye, bastard. Anyway,
Mhm.
they have a 6-inch series here, which is bigger than normal. Um, I thought the standard was like 3 inches now, but I guess this is something different. But they got a whole bunch of these coming out, and I thought let's take a look at what they look like because I just kind of flipped through this article. And I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." I like the packaging they got here. It's got the symbols of all the iconic teams here, characters and stuff. But let's take a look at it here. So, all right, that's kind of neat looking Iron Man. It's very classic Iron Man.
Mm,
And but this is what I thought was cool. Take a look at that.
interesting.
It's Tony. It's real Tony. It's not
Yeah.
our boy Robert Downey. It's an actual Tony Stark. That's kind of cool.
Mhm. I like it.
It's been a while, man.
I've always liked the classic Iron Man look. I don't really like the color, like the gold color. I like the more modern one,
Mm.
but better personally. Just I think it looks sleeker. But I've always liked the color scheme, and I'm very colorblind anyway. But it just pops to me. It comes off really well. Has a very it's distinctive, especially for the time. And you immediately know what it is.
Uh, no, I agree with 100%. And it's nice to see the old porn stash, Tony. Eric says average is 6 inches. Really? I thought the 3-inch Star Wars stuff was the average. Is 6 inches? Let me look at that. 6 inches. That is that? Are you sure? What do I know? I don't know anything about this stuff. But I thought it was a weird number. But yeah, no, it's really cool to see that. I thought that was neat. And if you're a collector, this is classic Iron Man. So, neat. Let's go take a look at another character here. They give a lot of photos in this too. It's nice. We got old classic Falcon, really classic Falcon, right?
Right.
Which is neat because I used to read Captain America. That was one of my staple pulls was Captain America, and of course Falcon and him teaming up was very common, right? We see that's the only time I saw Falcon was when he was with Cap, but I always thought there was a good team up. So we got Red Wing here, classic Falcon, of course, and when the comic books took and put Falcon in the Captain America position when Cap was down and aged, I was like, oh, that makes sense. It makes sense that he would do it, or Bucky, but well, Bucky's the Winter Soldier. But then they went political with it, and it was dumb. It was like, why? It makes perfect sense to have Falcon become the new Captain America. What are you doing? Right? But,
Yeah.
they can't get away from themselves, dude. It's a black character. Black people are popular. We're black. It's their brain is like this, right?
Yes.
Yes,
And they're going
he's
to
black. Yes. Yeah.
be very disappointed in the fact that he's not going to be popular. I hate to break it to everybody, but it's not going to happen.
He'll be on the shelf just like Lando.
Yep.
Yeah, no, he probably unfortunately he shouldn't be though, Eric. He shouldn't be. But do keep in mind the classic Falcon had a very Native American feel to him as well. Yeah. But how you doing, Eric?
I'm doing great. I hopped in here to show some of my toy knowledge. The 6-inch ones you were showing is 20th anniversary of the 6-inch line of Marvel Legends figures.
Yes, yes.
So they've been around for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Did I not mention that? Oh, that's my bad. But
So
I
this
just
one here is a 3 3/4 though. The Falcon is.
it's a 3 3/4. Yeah, so that's what I thought was normal, the Star Wars sizing. So that's 3 3/4.
Yeah, they've upgraded about 6-inch about 20 years ago. You got Marvel Legends, they're 6 inches. Star Wars Black Series is 6 inches, and the new GI Joe Classified line is 6 inches as well.
That's neat. That's neat. When I was a kid, I had a lot of action figures. They were all in that, GI Joe and Star Wars. So they were all in that 3 1/4. You said
Oh
three.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, is that the size?
Yeah, 3 3/4.
3 3/4. And I love playing with those as a kid. I'm not a collector, but I get it though. you know. And these are from Kenner, which is neat. I didn't even know they're still around. That's a good looking Reed Richards,
Hasbro owns
dude.
Kenner. Hasbro bought out Kenner a while back. They just used the name
Oh,
for
did they? I
nostalgia.
didn't know that. But that's a good looking Reed Richards right there, dude. I like the look of
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
It has seemingly, unless he's like some sort of stretchy material, it has seemingly no articulation though.
Oh no, I think it's just well hidden by the color. I don't know. Let's see if they have any other. No, they don't. That's all they got. I don't know. I would think he would be just like the rest of them. They're highly articulated, aren't they? No, they're not. You're right. It's just one point of articulation. Maybe the head turns too.
Maybe.
Huh. What is the standard in articulation, Eric?
I believe it's around 21. So these being like this one, he's a 3 3/4. They'll have 5 points. You'll have the neck, the shoulders, and the hips, and that's it.
Huh. Oh yeah,
You're,
that's
yeah, the bigger the figure, the more articulation you're going to get.
21. That's a lot, dude. That's 10 aside plus the head. That's a lot, dude.
Yeah.
I love how they're showing the card backs here, though. That's neat. We got a Venom. These are the 3 3/4 types, though. That we're looking at, I guess. We got a Venom here, very classic looking Venom. We have Cap. Cap is the same size, it looks like, but it's
no, he's the 6-inch one. He's the
Oh,
one
no,
of the
you're right.
20 anniversary. See all the the double jointed knees and the
Yeah.
double jointed elbows. Yeah, tons of articulation.
Yeah, that's neat, dude. Look
Hey,
at
what
that.
happened to action figures? When I was a kid, I had a monstrous collection of the little GI Joes, the little 3-inch ones, I think they were, and they could do all sorts. They
Yeah.
had elbows. Some of them had wrists and shoulders and heads and waists and
Yeah,
knees.
yeah, the GI Joes did. Yeah.
Yeah, G.I. Joe was cool, yeah.
What happened to that?
I don't know.
Why do the Marvel figures? I mean, let's be honest. They look good, but they're shit. You can't do nothing with them. Especially, well, this one you can, but the little guys, what are you gonna do with that? With if you're gonna have him stand like Hitler, like that's about all you get. You get
Yeah.
you get the
it's true.
tail.
Most of mine didn't survive because firecrackers got at them. I don't know why.
Air spray and a lighter.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though, and maybe Eric can tell us, because you're right. When we had those little standard sized ones, which are 3 3/4, I guess, and they were very articulated, but they've dropped articulation. What happened?
These smaller ones are shown. They're more retro to the classic. What were those old Marvel figures that came out from Kenner back in the 80s? The I forget what they were called, but they only had 5 points of articulation, so that's what those are based on.
I see. But at the
Because
same
they
time,
have made some smaller ones with much more articulation, but these are supposed to be retro.
yeah, I get that.
To the 80s nostalgia feel.
It's
Yeah.
collector. But like Thunder was saying, when we were kids, our GI Joes had more than 5 points of articulation.
Oh yeah, they had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think 9.
Yeah.
And in
'Cause
fact, I preferred the GI Joes over like the pro wrestling figures because they had more articulation,
Oh yeah.
and you could do way more with them.
Yeah, no, that I remember when I was a kid, I moved around a lot, but there was one point in my life when I was really into those kind of things, Matchbox cars and action figures. And there was this place in the woods that had like this little mound of dirt. I have no clue idea why, but we carved into that dirt and we made it like into a landscape, and we would, play, GI Joes and Matchbox cars and stuff in that area. That's good memories, man. Oh, look, he's got a alternate head there with his cowl down. That's cool, dude. That's
That
neat.
is cool.
Yeah, that's good looking Captain America, man.
It is.
It's great, and he's got all these different options. You can have different hands. That's neat.
See, I always loved that Captain America outfit right there.
It is
Yeah,
a good one.
yeah,
It
it's
is good.
kind of over the top, but it just looks so good.
It does.
Just looks so clean.
It looks good. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And he's got a lot of little standees and stuff. This one right here. That looks like it's part of the pack. It's not the card back. It's just in there. Oh yeah, I see it. It's got a little standee. Oh, that's neat, dude. But thing is though, Eric, the kids buying these things, or is this just adult collectors?
Well, these 6-inch ones will run you 20 to 30 usually, and even the 3 3/4 ones are $9 to $15. So
What?
it's mostly
Jesus.
collectors buying the stuff now.
Goodness gracious, that's too
Yeah, because
bad.
last little GI Joe I remember buying as a kid was probably $2.99.
Yeah, no, they were about $3. Yeah, that sounds right. But this is a great looking. Is that a mixed media there with the chess piece?
Oh no, it's molded like that.
Huh. It looks great though. This is a great looking action figure, dude. He's so posable. Yeah, that's neat as hell, dude. Yeah, that's cool. Jean Grey, dude. All right.
Little Phoenix.
Yeah, okay. Now they're just giving us just straight on looks. Wolverine, a big old thick, stocky one too. Neat. All right, we got to go look at him. Now she doesn't have knee or elbow articulation, but her forearms and calves can rotate.
That's odd.
That's odd. Yeah. Wolverine has nothing, just the 5.1. I'm learning today, Thundero. That's good.
See,
Okay, there's a little pack you can get. All right, neat.
see, I'm going to critique his outfit, Falcon Captain America. I don't hate it. I don't like the mask of it though, and I get that it's just a repurposing of his Falcon mask.
Yeah.
But I didn't like that either. It's just, I don't know what it is about it. I don't like that style. It looks. Why would anybody have that? Like,
Yeah,
what's the purpose of that?
and his star is kind of Spider-Man-esque. I don't like that either.
Yeah,
I think it's
Yeah.
got too much white.
Yeah, maybe.
yeah.
Maybe. But I really think it's a shame what the comic books did because, having him take over Cap in his time of need, it made perfect sense, and they just kind of ruined it. It's unfortunate, dude. But this is using the movie guy's face, not the classic Falcon, which is weird because the rest of the stuff is just comic book. But they're definitely using his face here. I don't know why.
They got a couple different lines. They'll have the MCU line and they'll have the regular comic book line as too.
Oh, look at this one.
Oh,
Yeah,
but-
this is movie one too. That looks
Yeah.
good, dude. That looks really good.
yeah,
That's excellent.
yeah. His outfit wasn't bad.
No,
I liked it. I mean, it's not as iconic in my opinion as the classic in the comics, but still
it
looks
worked
good.
though. It worked. Yeah.
His just looks. It's way over designed. It's too much.
Yeah, it's a
Calm
bit
down.
noisy in it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
too bad. But yeah, I love this though. That looks badass, dude. Let's see here. Is that it? No, we got a little Scarlet Witch, which is a little foreshadowing here for a next story I have. But we got Scarlet there, and once again, we have thigh articulation. What's going on, Eric? Help me out.
What's the point
Well,
of
on
that?
the more articulated ones, you have thigh, you have boot cut, you have a bicep swivel. There's all kinds of articulations they throw on there. With the women, you don't get as many points of articulation because she has no waist swivel.
Yeah, no, why? I wonder.
Yeah.
Huh. This is classic Scarlet though, and it's not the girl from the movie either. This is classic. Yeah, neat. Alrighty. I don't remember having many girl action figures though. I must have had. I don't know.
Oh,
Vision,
White Vision.
the the after death Vision. I don't know. What do you think about this one, Eric? I don't
I
know.
don't like the feet. The feet I do not like.
No, the feet are horrible. I don't like it being white either. I get why they did it, but it looks more like Silver Surfer to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get it. Let's get through this. Winter Soldier. This might be cool. Oh, that does look cool. This is a movie
That is
version
good.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
These feet are better. Yeah.
It
I
looks
like what
it's
they
him
did.
as well. Yeah.
Well, I like what they did with Winter Soldier in the movie. Actually, I thought they fleshed him out because it's a character is never really used well in the comic books. I think. I'm sure I just
No,
pissed off half the
unfortunately.
chat.
Unfortunately, old Bucky Barnes.
Yeah. Well, see, I
His name's
remember.
Bucky.
Well, I
That's
remember
silly.
reading comic books with Bucky in it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure Eric does as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had Captain Bucky, straight up Captain Bucky comic as well as I read because I read a lot of Captain America. But oh, Jubilee.
All I know is Sebastian Stan. If Disney wants to make money and they want to make a Luke Skywalker show, there he is.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with that. They should be all
Yeah.
over that shit, dude. But there's too much politic going over there for them to be smart.
Yep. Jubilee is such a shit character. I cannot stand Jubilee. She shoots fireworks.
Yeah, they did upgrade her. I think what Jubilee, the intention of Jubilee was because if you notice, well, Wolverine, they often want to put him in the fatherly role, right? He'll mess around with Jean Grey and other adult ladies, but when it comes to little girls, Wolverine is highly protective, right? And they put him in that fatherly role a lot. They did it with Kitty Pryde. Kitty
Mhm.
Pryde was the girl next door that every boy loved. She was
Oh
absolutely
yeah.
adored. And Wolverine was kind of protective of her, but then they wanted to adult her up and do more with her, so they had to replace her with somebody else, and this is the replacement. That she is only in existence because Wolverine needed a young girl to look after.
And
That's
she sucks.
Yeah, she does. She's noisy and bratty, but that's the. I mean, you could argue with me, Eric, but I think that's the only reason she exists.
No, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, yeah. And I actually don't mind that. I like that they added that flavor, that layer to Wolverine, that he really is highly protective of kids, particularly, so they always want to attach little girls because they're cuter for the reader, but he is very protective of children, and that's cool. And I like what they did. They did that in the Logan movie too. I like that.
Hmm.
Yes.
That's a neat little layer they put on Wolverine. It's cool because, they had to juxtapose his lechery, you know, well, somehow, and that was a smooth way to do it, I think. But yeah, Jubilee, she's nowhere near as cool as Kitty. I'm assuming you were all in love with Kitty Pryde as every other boy was.
Everyone
Who,
was,
me?
yeah.
Yeah. No, Eric. Yeah, Eric and I
Oh
are the
yeah.
same age, right? Um, but yeah, no, okay, yeah. Jubilee doesn't get much love, and oh well. Oh, Wolverine.
Ooh, that one's coming. That one they don't have yet, but that one is coming. That's a render of what
Yeah,
he will look like.
yeah. It looks good. It looks good. Nice
Yeah,
thick old
these two
Wolverine.
are these two are based on the X-Men animated series. If you look at the packaging, it's supposed to look like a VHS case.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, it looks exactly like that. Neat. But
That to me,
it's
right
got two
there,
heads too.
is the best Wolverine look. I never was much of a fan of the other one, the brown or whatever the hell color it is.
Look what they did. They put a picture. Okay, that's a wink, wink right there. All righty, fine. Fine. Do you guys ever understand? I mean, Wolverine, making him masculine. Yeah, you're right. The anime series. Taking Wolverine and having him with ladies and stuff, and making putting that male aspect on. I get that. But what did you guys think of the whole him and Jean Grey thing in the love triangle? What'd you think of that? Nothing.
Yeah, pretty much. Don't really care.
I mean, she's hot and all, I guess.
Yeah, it just always seemed like something to do. You know what I mean? Like they wanted a love triangle, and here you go. They took their popular character with one of their less popular characters, and then there's Cyclops, which is Cyclops, and it's just I don't know. It's what it always felt like to me was they needed something for all three of these characters to have in common, so they came up with that. It wasn't like their characters needed this to happen because when you
Yeah.
think about it, it doesn't make any sense. Like what other than the fact that she's hot, what is it that he sees in her?
Well, now let's look at that a little deeper though, because I agree with you. But is she hot though? Because I understand comic book artists are going to make they're athletic people anyway. So if you're athletic, it doesn't you're going to have a certain level of attractiveness to you anyhow. But I get the artist doing that as artist. But in canon, is she supposed to be attractive? MJ is supposed to be attractive. But is Jean Grey is she portrayed in the comics as being attractive? I don't think so. She's portrayed as being the girl next door. She's portrayed as being gentle and kind and friendly. But I've never seen her portrayed as being attractive. Have you?
Why do you think Logan pines after her so much?
Well, that's the
Is it
question that Thundero's put out, and I agree. Why?
Especially considering the one that he would make the most sense with is sitting right there and way more beautiful in Storm. They
Yeah.
make far more sense as a couple. Period. Like they just do. Their characters would mesh so much better than him and Jean. Him and Jean would not work. Period. And she knows that. She's very clear to him with that.
Yeah, but even Storm is not portrayed as a beautiful woman either. Kitty is supposed to be super cute. She is portrayed that way. You have a Rogue is very sexy. Now, is she supposed to be sexy in her face, or is it just her attitude? It's not necessarily easy to figure out. But I'm just saying that you have to separate the artist, who of course is going to make their characters look beautiful, from the storyline. You know. And I don't know.
I would say Storm is considered beautiful.
Mm,
I'd say
she's
beautiful
supposed to be a
in
goddess.
yeah, beautiful in like a regal way, not like a model way.
well, she is supposed to be
she's-
regal, but I don't recall ever seeing a line of dialogue that said anything about her being beautiful.
I would say it's that regality that makes her sexy.
Oh, that's fair enough.
Yeah, that's what I think is what people are drawn to in that regard too. And obviously the way they draw her is sexualized. But
Oh, they artists, of course, but yeah. But I mean, actually, if you think about it, with Storm, I don't know that they ever sexualized her until when they started doing her with Black Panther. When was she ever sexualized beyond the costume and stuff? But I mean, in the comic book.
First appearance, she was naked.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, fair enough. But you get my point, Eric. I'm assuming you get what I'm trying to say.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. Actually, usually sex isn't brought up too much in comics. A lot,
No,
unless there is a romantic interest between characters.
no, of course not. It shouldn't be. But,
unless they're bisexual or gay, then it's brought up all the time.
All you talk about. That's right. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know the whole thing with that whole triangle. Thundero's probably right. It was just something to do something. But it was kind of dumb. I never cared for it. Anyway,
yeah, that's always been my opinion on it. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand why he's infatuated with her. She's kind of a boring character. The only times that she's really interesting is when she's not her and she's Phoenix. Other than that, she's meh. But when she's Phoenix, she's awesome as a character. But I've never been a big Jean Grey fan. I know a lot of people love her. She's not my type of character.
Yeah,
always much preferred Storm and Rogue as characters, and Storm to me has always made far more sense as a love interest for Wolverine.
Well,
you think it's because he despises Scott so much, he hates that he has something that he doesn't have, and that's why he wants her?
It could be pettiness. It's possible. Wolverine.
Well, who doesn't despise Scott though? Cyclops is such a prick.
He does suck. But the interesting thing, I've never been. I've read comics my entire life, and I've never been drawn to a character like, "Oh, she's beautiful," except Kitty Pryde. So, and I was very young, but so it shows you how well they wrote that character. They really portrayed her correctly. But Jiminy's saying that Storm is supposed to be beautiful. She's drooled over a lot of guys in the comics. Fair enough. I never felt that she was portrayed that way. I always saw her more as a leader, clear-headed, decisive. That's kind of what my feeling of Storm.
And to me, that would be what would attract Wolverine to her. That's what I always thought, is the fact that she's so imposing. She has an imposing personality, whereas Jean Grey's much more, quiet and demure. And I don't think Wolverine would be interested in that. I think he might want to protect that, like he does with children, but he wouldn't want to be in love with that. He would want a more challenging woman.
Yeah,
To
no,
me,
that's
that just
fair.
seems like his character.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, no, that's true. They like Eric said, they don't really delve too deeply into these things. They're more
Yeah.
interested in the what the story's happening. Now, Kitty Pryde is someone who's not supposed to be beautiful. No, she's supposed to be cute, Jiminy. Not beautiful at all.
Now, Chester, is Kitty Pryde your first Jewish girl you've fascinated over?
Probably. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Although I definitely saw Hollywood movies when I was an elementary school kid, and they're all Jews. So
Oh, okay.
By and
you know.
large, yeah.
So but yeah, no, I mean, Kitty was an interesting little phenomena at that time. Like in I don't know what it was about her, but
When she was
Rogue.
Shadowcat, not Sprite.
Yeah, no, screw that. No, she's Shadowcat, dude. Rogue was downright ugly when she first appeared. How did she become a hot character? Well, once again, I don't think she's ever been portrayed as being a beautiful woman in her face, but she's super sexy and
Yeah.
sassy, right?
Well,
That's
she's
the
also
point I'm making.
unattainable,
And
and
she's
the
also
unattainable,
unattainable. That's true.
the
Yeah.
fact that you can't have her without literally killing yourself. Everybody wants what they can't have.
Jiminy is being angsty over here. I think I triggered him with my storm comment. I do apologize, sir. At least I'm not trying to put her with a white dude. That's Thundera.
Listen, he's Wolverine. If Wolverine wants the puss, he's getting it,
Yeah,
and
I
we
would
all
say
know it's
so.
the truth.
That's true.
You're gonna tell me that Jean Grey wouldn't have put out for him. We all know he would have got that if he wanted it in real life. If that situation's playing out, if that man's coming for your wife, you better be as cool as him, or he's taking your wife. It's just that simple.
Yeah, even though he's only 5 foot flat. Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
I really triggered Jiminy. That's funny. I actually enjoyed the storyline where she married T'Challa. And I knew they would screw it up, and of course they did. But I thought that was a good place for her. The king of Wakanda and the goddess of storms. That was a perfect pairing, I thought. And I'm kind of surprised they didn't think to do it sooner, really. But they never stick with those cool ideas. Like when they had Superman, Kal-El with Diana, that was perfect. I was like, yeah, that's what it should be. Of course, those two should be making babies together, but no, they didn't
That
last.
one does make far more sense than Lois. She's everything Lois thinks she is. Like, literally. Like, she's actually
Yeah,
a
no, she
truly
is. Yeah.
powerful woman and all these things. I don't understand the resistance so many... I do, actually. It's just nostalgia. But I think if you're gonna play matchmaker with these characters, Superman and Wonder Woman makes far more sense
Yeah. No, I
than
agree.
Lois Lane.
Jiminy is way triggered. Why do you hate strong black women, Chester? # Slay Queen. Okay. All right, Jiminy. So let's move on to the last story. Let's save him his last strands of sanity. Now, this berry here is just talking about some comic books that I've never heard of. Have you guys ever heard of Red 5 Comics?
Oh.
Yeah, me either. So I went and before I showed the comics, I went and I checked out the actual, place and what are they about. It says Red 5 Comic created and produced cinematic style comic book entertainment. Okay. It earned the 2007 Gem Awards for Best New Publisher, and its titles have been nominated for 3 Eisner Awards and 2 Harvey Awards. Well, we know these awards mean nothing these days. So they've been around a long time, and I've never heard of them, dude. It says Red 5 Comics was founded by Paul Enns, former director of Lucasfilm's Lucas Online. Okay. And Scott Chitwood, co founder of TheForce.net and writer for SuperheroHype.com and ComingSoon.net. Okay. I don't know their names offhand, but they're both Star Wars connected. Red 5 Comics is published by Paul Enns, Scott Chitwood, Dave Zeitbart, and Joshua Starnes. I don't know any of these names, but they're certainly coming out of Star Wars. Let's go take a look at the comics real quick. So we have number 3 of a thing called Carriers, which is taking a superhero play on that little what was it, Pixar? Who did the Madagascar things with the mafia pigeons?
Was it DreamWorks? It was one of those. Pixar.
I think it was DreamWorks. Yeah.
Yeah. So they've taken that idea and turned them into superhero ninjas. Sweet.
I like it.
Sweet.
I like it.
I'm like, I gotta read that, dude. I gotta read that. That sounds neat, dude. So We got a
Listen,
massive.
if you would have told anybody in the 1970s that a book about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would come out and be
Oh yeah,
literally awesome,
yeah.
they would have probably been like, "What?" So I'll give carrier pigeons a try. If you can make turtles awesome, why can't carrier pigeons be ninjas? Who says? Who
Yeah,
makes that rule?
who made that role, right? And my sketchbook says it's Warner Brothers. It was the Good Feathers. No, you're right, dude. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's interesting. It says a massive storm is hammering New York City. The carriers must mobilize to rescue as many birds in the city as possible, while also contending with the Rat Pack running jewel heist. Are the Falcon Brothers and the Croc King involved? Oh, dude, I got to read this comic book. That's awesome, dude. Did I just
Like it?
hear a booster cackle?
No, that was me.
Oh, okay.
I like it.
I
I
like
like
it,
the
dude.
whole
Yeah.
premise of it. It's silly, it's over the top, and it's exactly where American comics, Western comics should be going. Just over the top, just lean into the campiness that is comic books.
Thank you very much, Sketchbook. You're right. But that's what they're doing here. I'm sure that's the inception. Neat. We got another here called The Dark Age. Okay. This is definitely a post-apocalyptic story. I don't know any of the people on it, but in the near future, all metal on Earth suddenly turns into worthless piles of rust and dust. With no technology, no guns, no computers, humanity reverts to a violent feudal system. Each pocket of civilization is ruled by knights of wood, glass, and concrete. This is a new dark age.
Interesting.
Interesting
That's
concept.
weird because there's a I think it's French comic that Booster showed me that was pretty trippy that I can't remember the name of now that had literally the same premise where all metal turned to rust
Mm.
in the future. And they had to, adapt to life that way. And a bunch of mutations happened and all this other stuff. But
Well, this is
what the hell
volume
was the name of
one,
that?
so maybe this is the one you're talking about. This isn't
No,
issue one, it's
that
volume
isn't
one.
it. That isn't it. It's because it's completely different. It's more like a western, whereas this looks more like a modern
Post-apocalyptic stuff,
medieval.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But it premise is interesting. Download here. After having his brain filled with designs for so it's Johnny Mnemonic, filled with designs for hundreds of mysterious devices, Eric and his friends begin discovering the strange and fantastic things that they can do. They're also about to find out that other people have received the download in the past, and powerful forces will be do anything to get what's in his mind. So it's Johnny Mnemonic goes superhero. Okay. What do you think about that, Eric?
I don't know. I kind of like the pigeon one.
Yeah, no, the pigeon one, I got to read that. That definitely, dude. That's cool. But it's interesting. It could be interesting. I watched a movie recently with my wife because it had got good reviews, so I downloaded and watched it from someplace. I downloaded it. Anyway, it was called Upgrade. Have you guys seen it?
If not,
It's an interesting little movie. The only thing I didn't really like was the end. Otherwise, I thought it was interesting and well done. It was kind of cool. I didn't like the end though. I think they made a mistake with that. It's an interesting little movie. You might want to check it out.
comic. I just asked Booster, and he reminded me. The comic is called The Transporter, and it's, as far as I know, there's only 2 issues in it, and I think it's done. And it's really cool. I highly recommend it. It's creepy, and it's a little gross, but it's still really cool. It's a really interesting premise, and it has a very similar premise to that Dark Age, where all metal has turned to rust, and
Yeah.
they can't really use metal anymore.
Well, and Jiminy says Upgrade was great. Yeah, I thought it was fun. I just didn't care for the ending, but it was a good fun. It was a fun watch. It's certainly worth a watch. Now, my sketchbook makes a very interesting point. Wait, how do they have glass without metal to hold the flame, hold it to the flame, to get it hot enough? Yeah, no. When you
Oh,
go with something like that, you have to really think it out, and I doubt that they really have.
I can't remember what stone it is, but you can use, I think it's basalt,
Yeah,
and
no,
do the
there's
same
plenty of
thing.
things you could use
Yeah,
lava stone. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, there's plenty of ways around it. I'm just saying that when you do something like that, you really got to sit down and create a cosmology. You have to set it up. You have to
Yeah,
have a
and you
game
gotta
plan.
find your rules and
Yes.
stick to your rules.
Yeah. That's
If
true.
you're gonna do something with a premise like that, where you just
Yeah.
take literally a whole element out of the equation, well, how does the world work then? Because metal is, well, it's in every living thing, metal.
Yeah.
So
No,
how does
what
that
happened to
work?
humans when that? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to create a cosmology, dude. You got
The
to really think about
transporter
it.
does that. That's why there's mutations. That's one of the reasons, is because of the
See,
effect of metal.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hmm.
But I mean, it's cool taking these interesting premises, but you really need to bang out that cosmology. Chester cried watching Sleepless in Seattle. I never saw that one actually. I heard it was good though. Um, the ending was fantastic. Not exactly happy. I think Jimmy's continuing about Upgrade. Yeah, yeah. No, I think it's worth a watch. If you haven't seen Upgrade, go watch it. I just personally would have had a different ending. Booster says our review of the transporter on my channel comes out this Wednesday. That's nice. So Booster, why are you in the chat and not in here? What are you doing? What are you playing with, Booster? Okay. Uh, Machine Girl. And the Space Invaders. I don't know. It could be cool, but it's kind of a lame name, dude. Machine Girl is back in the ring. Not only is Megan again proving herself as the best fighter in the galaxy, but she's now part of a group of space pirates, and their latest adventures will lead them to an unexpected treasure, which will set a new course for the team headlong to the race of space invaders. I have to say these little burbs are well written, though. This is good. I don't
Yes.
know. That doesn't sound that interesting to me. It's kind of a boring name,
Yeah.
and it's been done
Doesn't
so many
pop.
times. Yeah,
Doesn't pop.
yeah.
That's a big problem I'm having with my book is I had a name for a while, but I don't really like it.
Mm,
So so I have a name for the book. That's not going anywhere, but for like the overarching series, and I've been bouncing back and forth with it. And it's important. If you're gonna have something that you want to do more than one of, especially, it has to be something that works, something that flows, something that catches people. And that just I don't know. You're right. It just seems lame. It seems
yeah, no.
dull.
I know what you're saying. I've written with in a bunch of historical things, and I got these great titles like the European migration to East Asia and its impact.
Yes. Like, oh, pass.
Yeah, right, right. All my stuff it falls into those categories, but well, my stuff is like textbook stuff. Anyway, Mega. Okay. Why does that, Eric? Why does that remember? You remember that movie that came out about the dragon called Q?
Oh.
Yeah, that was way back when we were young. There was a movie called Q, and it was about a dragon loose in spoilers, loose in the city, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. And of course, in the end, it turned out to be a dragon. But
Interesting. It's a
yeah, no,
kaiju book.
it is, yeah, and this looks this cover reminds me of that movie. But gigantic creature known as the Salamander has taken the city of Montevideo by storm, destroying everything in its path. A little girl, advised by her apparently dead grandfather, invoked Mega, another giant creature, to stop the menace. Now the two monsters will clash, and the battle will begin in the world, bring the world to its knees. Okay, so it's Mothra. Sweet.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
a kaiju book.
yeah, it's kaiju book. Yeah, I'm not. Maybe.
I like the
Mm,
Teenage Mutant Ninja
oh, the
Pigeons.
pigeons is awesome.
I like it.
This could be good, but it's so old, overused. This may be interesting. Maybe. Absolutely, brother.
Yeah, that's
Um,
brilliant.
yeah.
That's brilliant.
So anyway, that's what's the name of this company again? Red 5 Comics. They've been around for 14 years, and I've never heard of them ever.
No, not at all.
Yeah. So interesting. But I definitely want to check this bird one out, dude. That just sounds perfectly schlocky in the right way. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, that's what I got for today. We went a little long today, and actually, I'm kind of I do need to get going. I wasn't paying attention. God damn it. But
This
anyway.
guy.
Thank you all for coming in. That was a lot of fun. Tomorrow we do, hopefully, we will have the continuation and near completion of our campaign, our D&D campaign. I'm not sure what's going on with Bill. He's had some kind of family troubles going on, so I'm not sure. But maybe we'll be on tomorrow or not. Nevertheless, and Eric, what are we doing for Drawn a Quarter this week? Do you know? What did you guys?
I believe this week it was supposed to be just
Oh yeah,
Halloween in
Halloween.
general, wasn't it?
Just Halloween
Yeah.
in general. No, you're right. Yeah,
If
right.
we haven't, I'll show up this week. All my stuff's done with, so I'm good to go.
Well, last week it didn't happen because we had literally just JD.
Oh, that would have been a classic show. You and JD.
Oh my God, dude, he would have committed suicide within 30
I would have
minutes.
paid for that one.
You guys, you're so mean to JD, but dude, he's so insufferable. He makes excuses constantly.
The autism.
And he posts pictures of skid marks in his shorts on our Discord too.
No way.
Yes. He was taking a
Jesus.
picture of his dog, but obviously he's sitting on a toilet when he took the picture, and his pants are down, and you can see his underwear with skid marks in it. Booster deleted the picture.
Oh, thank God.
Are we still live?
And we're still live.
Holy shit, dude. But anyway.
Funny. It was hilarious, though.
Oh shit.
Poor JD. Anyway,
Exactly,
guys, exactly. So we're going to get out of here. I'm going to let these guys give their closing comments, and we'll see you next week, of course. We're going to do a Halloween show on Night Owls, and we'll do a little Halloween stuff on the comics, too, simply because, it's my Halloween. Anyway, Erica, would you like to give any closing comments, anything you want to shill?
Hey, just go out there and buy comic books you like, and go out there and support some independent creators.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, Thunder Arrow, take us out of here, man.
I have something very simple. I think I've already done this one before, but I'm going to do it again because it's beautiful. And we're in a time where we need a little bit more beauty. I would rather live poor and surrounded by the bounty and beauty of nature than die rich surrounded by the bounty and ugly of man. Beauty is the measure of the universe's wonder and the measure of man's love. You know it when you see it, because you know it without seeing it. Have a good night.
Namaste.